Hello, Life Center. My name's Lily. I'm here to share my testimony with you all today. Having the privilege of knowing Christ has changed my life in every single way. I can't even compare myself before and after. There really is no comparison. It truly is I truly was born again in his image. I don't know exactly where to start this testimony, so I'll start off with a little bit about myself. I run my own business. I love life, and the most important thing to me in life are my relationships. Essentially, to love and be loved. Growing up in my household, I wasn't necessarily taught to follow Jesus, although I was encouraged to believe in whatever my heart did. With these beliefs, I always found myself praying one way or another, not really sure who I was praying to at the time, but I definitely was. When I was 16 years old, I was told that I was going to have a spinal reconstruction surgery. 16 to 24 bolts put in my back along with 2 titanium rods. At the age of 16, I was told that I had to learn how to walk again. I had to relearn how to brush my hair, everything. And as a 16-year-old girl, that's absolutely devastating. So I didn't know where I was going in life, but what I knew for sure was that there was a presence with me my whole life. I always had a sense of peace and comfort. A good way to describe this feeling is every time I would go through things like this, the world would go completely quiet. It would be like a warm hug from behind, and I knew that everything was gonna be okay. Through the rest of my teen years, I always found myself battling whether the existence of Jesus was true or not. I found myself questioning, okay, if God is real, then how can he watch me go through all of these things? Which, looking back, is such a valid question for such a young woman, a becoming woman to ask. About 4 years ago, I reached out to my cousin, who's been in faith her whole life, along with all of my cousins, which has always been such a beautiful thing to see, in regards of Jesus himself. And I was starting to ask questions, and I was like, okay, tell me more. Then I found myself talking to Jesus. I was telling him about myself. I started loving him and accepting the love that he had for me. During this time, I found it really hard to trust him fully, just due to growing up in the world. Trusting God 100%, be all or end all, was kind of like a tough thing I battled back and forth in my head. Okay, so let me take you a little bit further in the story. It's June of 2023 right now. I started hanging out with my now boyfriend, Sammy. We started literally just going for walks after the gym with my dog, and instantly, one of the very first things we started talking about was, let's go to church. December of 2023 was another pivotal moment in my life. My autoimmune system just tanked completely. It was failing me. I was in and out of the hospital for over a month actually, and I was attempting to manage my business's busiest time. It was the peak season. Although at the time I wasn't able to attend church in person, I had the privilege of watching it online every Sunday, and I was continuing to pray for healing, and I do feel as though this time was really a true test of my faith to the Lord. And I had the privilege of listening to Can Disappointment Be Divine Appointment, which is a wonderful sermon of Pastor Mitch's. During this season, I was isolated with the Lord more than I had ever been before in my life. I was spending a lot of time alone, which I've come to realize there was definitely a reason for, but there was a night where things just weren't getting better. My busy season was approaching and I just didn't know what to do. So it was a cool-ish night, a little bit of rain, and I went for a walk. And I went for a walk with God. I found myself on a park bench just completely crying out to him and just praying, probably one of the most powerful prayers I've ever prayed in my whole life. And there he was. He met me exactly where I was. It was like a warm hug. The whole world went quiet, and all of a sudden I realized it was the exact same feeling I felt as a 16-year-old girl who needed God more than ever. And then I was like, oh, okay, God's been with me the entire time, and there was no more questions in my head. I knew that he was with me there, I knew that he was with me then, and I knew he was with me forever. Now I know the love of the Lord. I know what it means to truly love and be loved. I know what it means to trust him with all of my heart. I know what it means to seek his presence and not his presence as in gifts. When I reflect back on my testimony, a verse just consistently has popped up, and honestly my whole life, it's such a perfect description of my life, and it's Joshua 1:9. And has the Lord not commanded us to not be fearful and to live with courage? And our God is with us wherever we may go. So that I will hold that forever. I will hold that from when I was a young girl to when I have the privilege of growing old until I see our Savior. But thank you for listening to my testimony. It has been a privilege. Was it good? Yeah? Okay. Good.